We are recording!
We are recording. What's up everybody? In this video we want to talk about kind of a couple of things, or really one thing in particular that we can do to improve our photography. Now for you guys that have watched this channel over the last couple of months, you guys have noticed Chris and I going to the same exact locations and coming away with some different images. You know, Chris and I have different styles, and one thing I can tell you is I've learned a lot shooting with Chris, and I think Chris the same thing.
Oh yes, absolutely. I learned a lot from you.
So something we want to talk to you guys about is shooting with other people, especially with different styles, watching how somebody else works, and I think you can really learn a lot, probably more than going out and shooting by yourself. You know, coming out and shooting with other photographers and really just trying to see someone else's process. I guarantee you guys will learn something. So we want to go over maybe a few images over the past few trips that Chris and I have taken together and talk about the differences and some things we learned.
Okay guys, so the first location we want to talk about is White Sands. And I've never shot the desert before. By the time the sun was as high as you can really see the ripples, the sky was dead. So I just, in my photo, I cropped out all of the sky. I really like how this photo turned out actually.
Yeah, and the image that I came away with there was all about the contrast between the shadow and the light on the sand dunes, using a long lens to compress the sand dunes together. So normally I would take out my wide angle lens and shoot because that's my favorite lens, but with the sand dunes it's something completely different. You really don't want to use that because you lose the scale. Watching Chris, I noticed how she likes to pick out certain things she likes in a scene and really concentrate on that. When I'm looking at kind of the big open areas and concentrating on the big picture, so to speak, seeing her and watching how she liked this particular bush and all the sand dunes and everything, that particular bush kind of stuck out, and the way she made that the focus of the image in the sand dunes was really amazing. Like I said, I loved that a lot.
Thank you. Yeah, I really like that shot that Mike got there with all the layers and the soft light coming in there from behind. You really did a great job on the edit too, so I really like how warm this image is, and yeah, I like it.
Yeah, and that's another thing too with post-processing is kind of using complementary colors and using colors that kind of go together that can actually take your image a little bit further, not just shooting it, but also kind of just adding a little bit of color or maybe pushing colors the one way or the other to kind of let them work together, you know, something that I like to do also. All right, guys, so the next shots we want to talk about is the one we got at Dead Horse Point State Park in Utah. Now, this image that Chris took here was probably my favorite image from the entire road trip that we did. Just absolutely beautiful, and if you guys have ever been to this spot or been to a place like this, it's just a really big landscape. It's absolutely beautiful with these rock formations that are everywhere, just a real big giant landscape. It's just spectacular. And what I loved about what Chris did here is she found this tree that she liked, just one little tree, and focused on that, made that the subject, and just came up with a spectacular image that, you know, just is completely different than anything that I've ever done. So I really loved it a lot.
That tree, it really caught my attention because it was twisted and turned by the wind. I liked the view there with the open canyon, but there wasn't any clouds in the sky, so that's not something I'm used to. Even though right where we're standing here it's blue skies, but it's usually, you always have some clouds here in Switzerland, so I'm not really used to blue skies. I was missing the balance in the photo, so I just focused on that tree. I was framing it within the light that was catching behind on the canyon walls, and I really liked how this photo turned out. Yeah, and then what Mike got at this spot, it was a wide open shot, and I absolutely love it. I love what you did with the placement of the tree there.
Yeah, I made sure to put that tree in the bottom third of the frame just to kind of give it some scale with the landscape, but also just putting in that bottom third just kind of gave it a little bit more depth, you know, and instead of putting it right in the middle or anything where it didn't really make sense, make sure that everything in the scene does have a purpose.
So the next photo we are going to talk about is a photo we just took like 2 or 3 weeks ago when we were in Telnetz. We were passing this bridge. It looked really great just from the street. There was a river flowing underneath which was almost frozen, but it has still had some movement there. I really like the bridge in general, but I don't know, it was just too wide open for me, and all that light reflecting from the ice and the flowing water just caught my eye and took this detail shot there. And I don't even like my photo of the bridge, but I absolutely love yours. It looks really great, and you did a great job to show scale with the bridge in the foreground and with that leading line of the river, so I really love what you did there.
Yeah, and that's another thing, a perfect example of what I'm talking about when I like the wide angle lens, and I like getting kind of the entire scene with the sky, the bridge, the church in the background, the river kind of flowing through. to kind of give it like a leading line to bring your eye into the photo. And then you can see where Chris just kind of took a detail and took out the long lens, shot this detail shot of this, which is absolutely amazing. And because that's what she liked, you know, out of the entire scene, she picked this one little spot that she liked, that caught her eye, and focused right on that. And that's very impressive, and something that I love about her photography is her ability to just take a big landscape and find one detail and just zoom in on that and make that the subject of her photos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's usually how it is. When you show a lot spots, Mike just usually has the wide angle on, and it takes me around 30 seconds and I've got my long lens on. I'm just seeing little things in the landscape, and I love how we complement each other with this and learning things from each other.
All right, so this next location was what we did in Scotland, a place called Talisker Bay. Now, this one was a little bit different. It was a really moody scene, and both of us kind of had the same idea, black and white seascape. And we kind of sat there and didn't take our cameras out for a little while and just kind of watched the sea, watched the waves come in. It was a bit difficult, and to be honest with you, I was a little frustrated at first because I couldn't really find anything right away that was really sticking out to me. And then finally I found this one rock by itself that really stuck out, and as the waves would come in, as it would go around the rock and kind of flow back out, I noticed there were some white lines in me, so I just made sure that that was the subject of my photo and used shutter speed to kind of slow that down to get those long streaks in the waves as it would retreat. And it came out actually really nice, and like I said, you got this big coastline, you got all these rocks, and it was really easy to kind of get lost in all this, and then I was able to find this one particular rock that I really liked a lot and concentrated on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I loved what you did there. I found this area with all the black round stones, and in the sand, which was pitch black, it had some whites, just a little bit of white sand around. So I faced straight down and I put on a polarizer to cut the glare. And what I had to do, because it was standing right on top of the stones and facing down with my camera, I had to clone snap myself out of it, so you could actually see myself in one of the stones reflecting.
Yeah, that's such an amazing image, and I absolutely love it, because it's something that usually that I would never take a photo of, because you're looking like literally down at your feet. I'm always looking out into the landscape and trying to find something out there. So I kind of walked over there and saw what she was doing, and was just blown away by it. You know, just the details of what she found and the patience she had with it was just fantastic. It was absolutely impressive. So that's one big thing I took away from that, was just the patience that she had of finally finding the composition that she was looking for. Mm-hmm. So guys, the whole video is to try and show you guys how two photographers can go to the same exact location and come away with two just completely different images, and how you can take that, and if you're shooting with somebody else who has a different style than you, watch and learn and talk to them and see how they go about finding their composition, see how they go about just their whole process of from start to finish, how they go about their photography. I guarantee you're gonna learn something. You'll probably learn more from that than you will from just about anything else. So it's, to me, every time I've shot with somebody, I've always learned something. So make sure you guys go out and shoot something. Like I said, Chris's attention to detail is really impressive. That's something I really learned about is attention to detail, picking out a subject you like, and being patient.
Mm-hmm. And for me, the biggest things I learned from Mike is for sure post-processing. That he can shoot like any landscape without a single cloud in the sky and it still looks amazing. I think it's just the experience Mike has with just blue skies all the time in Arizona.
Yeah, unfortunately, for one of the most beautiful places in the world for landscape photography, but we get the blue skies there that are for weeks on end sometimes. Can be kind of frustrating. All right, guys, well, thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate it. I hope you guys learned something from this, and hopefully get out there and shoot with somebody else and collaborate with other photographers, because it's really going to help your photography. So, like always, thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.
Let's see what we got.